Although there is more choice and buyers might be taking a little bit more time, we are seeing a bit more motivation there from people, particularly your first-time buyers, I'd say, at the moment.
Megan, thank you for joining me. It's August 2025, going to do our property market update. Wanted to touch on average asking prices at the moment. So we've got the new data out from Rightmove.
Yeah.
That's showing that there's been a ever so slight decrease in values, about 1.2%. So we see this kind of seasonal adjustment. There's also a lot of property on. We've got decade high levels of stock available. This is nationally, so how is that comparing to locally, what we're seeing across our branches?
Yeah, I'd say very similar. We are seeing some people come on with slightly more attractive asking prices, a little bit lower than we've maybe seen over the last few months, but still somewhat similar to what we've witnessed in July and June previously.
And stock levels are still high. There's lots
Still
of
really
choice
high.
available for
lots
buyers.
of choice. Buyers are definitely getting more of a pick at the moment with what's out there, and that's kind of across the local area.
The positive sign is that we're also seeing lots of sales being agreed, aren't we?
Correct.
Looking at our areas specifically, sales are up about 12% on last year. So people are clearly still actively buying. Mortgage rates are looking more and more attractive, but you're seeing more sales.
Correct, yeah. Although there is more choice and buyers might be taking a little bit more time, we are seeing a bit more motivation there from people, particularly your first-time buyers, I'd say, at the moment. Really looking to buy, get on that property ladder, and you can see in the figures, sales still being agreed and at kind of good prices for our sellers as well.
Yeah, first-time buyers are that really important starting point, aren't they? To get the rest of the chains moving.
Yeah.
And then one thing that I really wanted to kind of go a bit more into detail with you is on price reductions, because that's another thing that we're seeing that's far more common at the moment, is properties being reduced. So again, for our area and including all agents, we're up about 14% comparing July to last year.
Yeah.
Why are people having to reduce prices? What are you seeing in the market?
I think there's a mixture of reasons. There are reductions whereby maybe they have been overvalued and people are trying at that higher level, and that's not then resulting in much kind of interest and offers coming to the table, and naturally that price needs to have a change to encourage that footfall through the door and offer negotiation ultimately. Some people are only having to do a slightly smaller reduction just to entice that kind of natural correction on that pricing.
Yeah, we were talking about those figures, weren't we, before we started filming, and so a number of agents, I guess including ourselves, we're typically reducing where we need to by about 4% on the property value. That's an average across all of the stock, so it is going to vary. But what we are also seeing is some agents are doing far greater reductions, aren't they? They're reducing between more 6 and 7% on average. Why would those agents be reducing by almost twice as much as other agents?
I think it comes down to they've maybe kind of oversold the price to the vendor during that valuation. They've decided to instruct the agent based on the fact that they're saying, oh, actually I can get you £25,000–50,000 more than what the correct value is of the property, and then they're not seeing any kind of viewings, any offers, so they're having to do that quite a drastic leap down to bring it back into the correct price, correct pool of buyers looking.
I guess, is there still a bit of a stigma attached with price reductions, or because we're seeing it more frequently now, is that less of an issue? Because I know some clients that when you talk to them about price reductions, they're wary of that data's now available to people, so they're worried about that. What's your take on that?
There is so much more. I think a lot of buyers at the moment are so much more savvy with the information that they can find online. So nowadays you can find out when the property was first listed, what agent it was first listed by, what price it first came to the market. So often when you do see a very big reduction or a lot of little reductions but in quite quick succession, that does naturally make people ask, what's wrong with the property? Why has it changed so much over that short span? However, when it's just that kind of one reduction that's not quite as much, your 2-4% reduction, people aren't as questionable because it's happening so often at the moment, and they are kind of seeing on those property portals reduced under quite a lot of the listings at the moment. So yeah, it can be seen as a bit of a negative, but I think there are buyers out there that aren't as driven by seeing reduced and think, oh no, I'm just going to discount that. They will kind of call up the agent and have a bit more of a conversation with us about what's the history, why is it reduced, and then we can have a bit more of an open, transparent conversation with them. Yeah,
and I suppose it's weighing up getting the price down versus what potentially people might interpret. And we know that price is a real key driver in terms of getting viewings and then offers and then a sale ultimately agreed. So I guess absolute best practice is really do your homework and pay attention to agents that are selling well. If a property comes on that's perhaps a similar property and the price is quite a bit higher, is there justification for that? When we do valuations, you typically go with what we refer to as comparables, don't you? So do you want to talk us through that a little bit? So demonstrate?
We'll bring out a report that will detail local properties, and like you say, what we deem as essentially comparable properties. Are they similar size, similar specification throughout? And we'll present that to a seller during the valuation appointment and discuss, this is where we've got our information from, because this property is on at X price, we feel that you should be pricing it here, which is going to be attractive, but also
maximise
the price and the kind of footfall of people getting in the door and seeing your lovely home.
So on that point, if someone does want that advice and want a valuation, how do they get in touch with us? What do they need to do?
Pop our office a call. We'd love to have even if it's just an initial chat over the phone. We're here to help discuss what you can do to maximise the price on your home, or arrange a more detailed valuation appointment where we can come into your home, have a conversation and go through that comparable data with you.
And those are all free. There's no obligation.
Correct.
It takes roughly an hour or so.
An hour
maybe
or so, depending on how many questions you've got. We'll tailor it to the time that you've got available as well.
Great. Thanks, Megan.
No problem. Thanks for having me.